There is something happening in the sky tonight that the universe has been building toward for weeks, and whether you feel ready or not, it has arrived. Tonight, April 19th, Mars and Saturn meet in an exact conjunction in the sign of Aries. This is not a gentle nudge. This is not another sign to add to your collection. This is the cosmos standing directly in front of you, looking you in the eyes, and asking you to decide. The karmic window is open. The old timeline and the new one are separated by nothing more than a single choice, and that choice is yours, right now. There is a reason your body has felt different this week, not different in a way you could easily explain to someone who was not paying attention, not different in a way that would show up in a conversation over dinner or a message to a friend, different in the way that only you can feel, deep beneath the surface of your daily life, in the quiet space between your thoughts, in the tightness that arrives in your chest without warning, in the heaviness that settles into your shoulders at the end of a day that did not even feel particularly hard. You may have told yourself it was stress. You may have reached for explanations, a poor night of sleep, too much on your mind, the weight of the world feeling heavier than usual, and perhaps those things were true, but they were not the whole truth. Because what you have been feeling this week is not coming from your circumstances, it is coming from the cosmos. Mars and Saturn have been moving toward each other for days, and as two of the most powerful planetary forces in the sky draw closer to their exact meeting point, the field of energy they create does not wait for the moment of conjunction to begin. It builds, it accumulates, it presses. And for those who carry an awakened nervous system, for those whose bodies have learned through years of spiritual experience to register energetic shifts before the mind can name them, that pressure arrives first as sensation. Perhaps you have felt it as a kind of restlessness that no amount of rest could resolve. A sense that something is coming, something is changing, something is being asked of you, without any clear indication of what that something is. Perhaps you have felt moments of inexplicable sadness rising up from somewhere old and deep, grief that did not seem attached to anything present, sorrow that felt more like memory than emotion. Perhaps you have felt flashes of sudden anger or an overwhelming tiredness that sits not in your muscles but in your soul. All of it is real, all of it is valid, and all of it is information. What your body has been processing this week is the energetic signature of a karmic reckoning. Mars, the planet of action, of will, of fire, of everything that drives you to move and fight and create and claim, and Saturn, the planet of time, of accountability, of karmic law, of everything that demands you face what you have been avoiding, are pressing together in the sign of the warrior, in Aries, the sign of beginnings, the sign of the self, the sign that asks, above all others, who are you and what are you willing to fight for? When these two forces compress into a single point in the sky, the energy does not stay up there, it comes down, it moves through the collective field, and those who are sensitive enough, awake enough, open enough to receive it, they feel it in their bodies long before they understand it in their minds. So if this week has felt like carrying something invisible and impossibly heavy, know that you are not imagining it, you are not being dramatic, you are not falling apart, you are receiving, and your body was doing exactly what an awakened body is designed to do. It was registering a cosmic truth before your conscious mind had the language to hold it. That truth is this: something in your life has reached its limit. Something that was once sustainable is no longer. Something that once felt safe has quietly become a cage. And the pressure you have been feeling in your body this week is the universe preparing you not to suffer, but to see, not to collapse, but to choose. The pressure is not the punishment. The pressure is the preparation. And now that you can feel it, now that you can name it, You are ready to understand what it is asking of you. There are two timelines available to you right now. Not in a distant theoretical sense, not in the kind of way that sounds beautiful in a spiritual book, but never quite lands in the reality of your daily life. Right now, in this moment, on this exact date, April 19th, two distinct energetic pathways are standing open before you, and the conjunction of Mars and Saturn in Aries is the cosmic force that is making you choose between them. The first timeline is the one you already know. It is the one built from the decisions you made before you fully woke up. It is the one shaped by old fear, by inherited patterns, by the version of yourself that said yes when your soul was screaming no. That stayed when everything inside you was pulling toward the door. That kept waiting for the right moment, the right sign, the right permission to finally become who you have always known yourself to be. That timeline is familiar, and familiarity, even when it hurts, carries its own kind of gravity. It holds you not because it is right for you, but because it is known. The second timeline is the one your soul has been quietly preparing you for. It is the one where you stop negotiating with your own knowing. It is the one where the gift you carry stops being a private secret and starts becoming a lived reality. It is the one where the relationships, the work, the environment, and the inner dialogue all begin to reflect the truth of who you actually are, rather than the story of who you were taught to be. That timeline does not feel safe in the way the first one does. It feels like standing at the edge of something vast and being asked to trust that the ground will appear beneath your feet. And here's what Mars conjunct Saturn in Aries will not allow. It will not allow you to stand between those two timelines any longer. This is the cosmic truth of this conjunction that most people will never hear explained. Mars does not tolerate stagnation. In Aries, the sign it rules, Mars is at its most primal, its most urgent, its most insistent. It pushes, it accelerates, it demands initiation. But Saturn does not care about your comfort or your readiness. Saturn cares only about one thing, and that is truth. Karmic, unflinching, patient, immovable truth. And when Saturn enforces its law, it does so with a finality that cannot be appealed. Together, in this conjunction, they are not giving you a gentle invitation, they are closing the space between your two available futures. They are compressing the distance between where you are and where you are meant to be until the only options left are forward or backward. There is no sideways, there is no standing still, there is no more time to gather information, wait for certainty, or ask for one more sign. You have felt this, haven't you? That particular spiritual exhaustion that comes not from doing too much, but from resisting too long. That bone-deep weariness of carrying a version of yourself that no longer belongs to you. That quiet but persistent inner voice that has been saying the same thing for months, perhaps for years, growing not louder, but more serious, more steady, more certain with every day that passes without action. That voice is not your anxiety. That voice is not your ego. That voice is the part of you that exists beyond this lifetime, the part that agreed to be here in this body, on this earth, during this exact window of time for a reason. And that part of you has run out of patience with the waiting. The two timelines are still open, but the space between them is narrowing by the hour. And the Mars-Saturn conjunction does not close gently. It closes with a weight that those who miss it will feel long after the window has passed. You are not here by accident, and you already know which timeline belongs to you. Saturn does not warn you twice. This is perhaps the most important spiritual truth you will encounter in your awakening journey, and it is the truth that this conjunction is pressing directly into your awareness on this exact night. Saturn is not a cruel force. It is not punishing you. It is not withholding from you. But Saturn operates by a law that is older than any religion, older than any spiritual tradition, older than any human attempt to name the divine. And that law is simply this: everything that is not aligned with your soul's true purpose will eventually be removed. Not because you failed, not because you are unworthy, but because the universe cannot allow you to remain comfortable inside a life that was never meant to hold you. And tonight, Saturn is closing something. You may already sense what it is. There is likely something in your life, perhaps something you have known for a long time, perhaps something you have been circling around for months without ever fully landing on it, that has the feeling of finality around it now. A relationship that has given you everything it was meant to give and is now simply taking. A version of your career or your daily life that once felt like progress, but now feels like a slow erosion of everything that makes you who you are. A belief about yourself, about your worth, your capability, your right to take up space in this world, that was handed to you by someone who did not know your soul, and that you have been carrying ever since as though it were your own. Saturn, in conjunction with Mars and Aries, is not asking you to think about these things. It is not inviting you into another round of reflection, journaling, or careful consideration. It has already given you the reflection. It has already sent the signs, the synchronicities, the repeated patterns, the closed doors, the relationships that revealed themselves, the opportunities that collapsed exactly when they needed to show you the truth of where you were standing. Saturn is now enforcing what it has already shown you. And the closing that Saturn brings is not always dramatic. It does not always arrive as a sudden ending or a visible collapse. Sometimes it arrives as a quiet but absolute inner knowing that you cannot unknow. A moment where you look at something familiar and feel for the first time completely done. Not angry, not sad, just done. As though a door inside you has gently, irrevocably closed. And the relief of that closing surprises you more than the closing itself. That is Saturn completing its work. For chosen ones, this closing is not a loss. It is a liberation that can only be recognized from the other side of it. Because what Saturn removes was never truly yours to keep. It was only ever a temporary structure built to hold you in a particular lesson until the lesson was complete. And when the lesson is complete, the structure must come down. Not to leave you exposed, but to leave you free. Free to build something that actually belongs to your next chapter rather than your last one. But here is what you must understand about Saturn's closing on this night. The window in which you can choose to release willingly, rather than waiting to have it taken, is precisely what this conjunction is offering you. Saturn will close what needs to be closed regardless of your participation. The only question is whether you will move with that closing, consciously and with your full spiritual awareness, or whether you will hold on until the grip of the old timeline is pried from your hands by circumstance. The chosen ones who choose to release willingly tonight will feel something extraordinary move through them, a lightness, a grief that transforms almost immediately into gratitude, a sense that something enormous has shifted not just in their circumstances, but in the very frequency of their being. Saturn is not ending your story tonight. Saturn is ending the chapter that was keeping your story small. Let it close. You are ready for what comes next. There is a fire inside you that has been waiting for this moment. Not the kind of fire that destroys, not the kind that burns recklessly through everything in its path without direction or intention. The kind of fire that forges. The kind that transforms raw material into something that can withstand the weight of a real life. A life lived in full alignment with the soul that chose to inhabit this body on this earth during this exact and extraordinary window of time. That fire is Mars, and tonight, Mars is speaking to you directly. You have felt it this week as urgency, as an almost electric impatience that lives just beneath the surface of your skin, making it difficult to sit still, difficult to engage with the ordinary rhythms of your daily life as though nothing significant is happening. Because something significant is happening, and the part of you that is most awake, the part that exists beneath your thoughts, beneath your conditioning, beneath every story you have ever been told about who you are and what you are capable of, that part knows it. Mars in Aries is the most primal expression of forward motion available in the entire astrological sky. Aries is the first sign of the zodiac. It is the energy of initiation, of beginning, of the first breath drawn before anything else is possible. It is the sign that carries within it the original impulse of creation, the moment before thought becomes form, when pure divine intention gathers itself into a single point of focused will and says, I am going, I am beginning, I am claiming what is mine. And Mars, ruling this sign, amplifying this energy, meeting Saturn in this exact degree on this exact night, Mars is not asking you to think about beginning. Mars is not asking you to plan your beginning or research your beginning or discuss your beginning with people who are still comfortable in their own stagnation. Mars is asking you to begin. But here's what most people misunderstand about the urgency that Mars conjunct Saturn creates. They feel the fire and they assume it means they must act loudly. They assume they must make dramatic gestures, announce their transformation, or completely dismantle their external life in a single evening. And that misunderstanding causes them to either act impulsively in ways that create chaos rather than change, or to feel so overwhelmed by the enormity of what they sense is required that they do nothing at all. The fire that Mars is igniting in you tonight does not require a grand performance. It requires a decision. A single, quiet, internally made decision that something in your life is going to change. Not someday, not when the conditions are more favorable, not when you feel more ready, but now. Made in the privacy of your own soul, held in the body with the full weight of your awakened awareness, and committed to with the kind of steadiness that does not need external validation to remain standing. That is what Mars conjunct Saturn in Aries produces in the souls who are ready to receive it. Not chaos, not impulsive action, decisive, grounded, spiritually anchored forward motion. The warrior who knows exactly why they are fighting and does not waste a single movement. The creator who has finally stopped apologizing for the size of their vision and has simply begun to build it. You have been carrying this fire for longer than you realize. It did not arrive this week with the conjunction. It has been inside you since before this lifetime, banked, patient, waiting for the precise cosmic conditions that would make its full expression not just possible, but necessary. Those conditions are here tonight. The sky above you is configured in a way that will not repeat for years. The karmic window is open. The warrior and the lawkeeper are standing together in the sign of the self, pointing directly at you, saying, now, it is time. You have everything you need. The burning you feel in your chest is not anxiety. It is not fear wearing the costume of urgency. It is your soul recognizing its moment. It is the part of you that agreed before you were born to show up fully when the cosmos called, and the cosmos is calling tonight with a clarity that leaves no room for doubt. Do not dampen this fire. Do not talk yourself out of it. Do not hand it to someone else to tend while you wait for a better moment that the universe has already told you will not come. Let it burn. Let it move you. Let it begin what it came here to begin. You already know the answer. This is the truth that the entire cosmos has been moving toward delivering to you tonight, through the pressure of Mars and Saturn meeting in exact conjunction in the sky above you, through the fire that has been building in your chest all week, through the closing that Saturn has been enforcing in the quiet corners of your life, through the two timelines that have been pulling at you from opposite directions until the space between them became too narrow to inhabit. All of it Every sensation, every sign, every moment of inexplicable grief or sudden clarity or restless, sleepless night has been leading you to this single, simple, profound truth. You already know. You have known for longer than you have been willing to admit. The answer to the question the universe is asking you tonight is not hiding somewhere outside of you, waiting to be discovered in another video, another reading, another conversation with someone who might finally say the exact words that give you permission to trust what you have already felt. The answer is not in the stars, though the stars have been speaking it to you for weeks. The answer is not in this moment, though this moment has been crafted by the cosmos to make it impossible to ignore any longer. The answer is in you. It has always been in you, and the only thing that has ever stood between you and the full, embodied, lived expression of that answer is the part of you that was taught by a world that does not always honor depth or sensitivity or the quiet authority of the soul to distrust what you know without external confirmation. That part of you served a purpose once. It kept you safe in environments that were not ready for the fullness of who you are. It helped you navigate spaces where your gifts were not understood, where your awareness was too much for the people around you, where the truest version of yourself had to be kept quiet and careful and small. That protective part of you did its job, and you can honor it for that. You can meet it with compassion rather than frustration. But tonight, under the exact conjunction of Mars and Saturn in Aries, that part of you no longer has the authority it once did, because the cosmos does not issue this kind of karmic ultimatum to souls who are not ready. The universe does not open a window of this magnitude for people who are still in the early chapters of their awakening. This alignment is not for everyone. It is precise. It is targeted. It lands in the awareness of those who have done enough inner work, carried enough truth, and walked enough of the path to be standing exactly where you are standing right now. You are here because you are ready, not perfect, not finished, not without fear or doubt or the very human desire for more time, but ready in the way that matters, ready in the soul, ready in the knowing, ready in the part of you that exists beyond this single lifetime and understands the significance of what is being asked. The karmic window that Mars conjunct Saturn has opened will not remain open indefinitely. Saturn, by its very nature, enforces deadlines. And the weight that those who miss this window will carry is not a punishment. It is simply the accumulated consequence of choosing the familiar over the true, the comfortable over the aligned, the known over the calling. That weight does not arrive all at once. It settles slowly, quietly in the weeks and months that follow, in the form of a deeper restlessness, a more persistent inner ache, a growing distance between the life being lived and the life that was meant to be lived. You did not come this far in your awakening to carry that weight. So tonight, in whatever quiet space you can find, in whatever moment of stillness you can carve out of the noise of your daily life, sit with what you know, not with what you fear, not with what others have told you is reasonable or realistic or responsible, with what you know, with what your soul has been saying steadily and without drama beneath every distraction and every doubt. Hear it, honor it, and choose it. The universe has spoken, the planets have aligned, the window is open, and the cosmos is waiting with a patience that is ancient and an authority that is absolute. The choice has always been yours, and the time for making it is now.